Three. Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Dawn Campbell, your co-host to the fabulous Ruby McGuire today, friend and fellow IAPC&M accredited practitioner and author of several books. So hello Ruby.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Looking forward to our talk. So Ruby and I were talking some time ago about the many concerns that practitioners, particularly new practitioners, have as they're developing their business acumen and their business skills and just really testing the market. And one of the things that people are concerned about is how and what to price their business at. So Ruby's come up with this lovely title and is going to talk to us about how we can become kings and queens of the pricing strategy for our own businesses. So over to you, Ruby, please.
Brilliant. So hi everybody. Just to give you a bit of a heads up, I'm working from an iPad today, so I can't share my screen and me at the same time. So I thought I'll come on so you see who you're actually going to be listening to. And as I talk you through the whole process, I'm going to be sharing loads of things with you. So I'm going to switch over onto screen, but really nice to connect with you. Oh, got into the wrong one. Same colour. Give me a second. Right, here we go. Typical, you get it all set up at the beginning and then it decides to go all over the place. So hopefully you can see my slide, my main slide now. So just check in with you.
Yeah, we can, thank you.
You can, brilliant. And so what we're going to cover today is why pricing right is important. We're going to touch on these, and what I'm going to do afterwards, I'm going to share a mini module that I created for one of my programs called Rock Your Pricing, and that's going to take you through a whole training around strategy, because I want to focus more on the mindset, but it means you can go away and use that strategy for your business too after this. So I'm going to share a key model to set the stage, the things you need to know before you start creating your pricing. I'm going to share a simple strategy or framework for you to price your services. Then we're going to talk about how your money relationship might be blocking your success. We're going to do a simple mindset hack that you can take away today and use. And then I'm going to do a simple exercise with you to help you clear some common money blocks. So that's what we've got lined up today. So a little bit about me. I recently changed my title because I was working in visibility. So my background, way background is head of HR. I then trained as a coach, and before that I ran an HR consultancy business for a year. And then I trained as a coach, and I worked a lot with coaches specifically. So I was a coach for coaches, and then I went into the realms of visibility. And more recently, I've stepped into leadership and mindset, because it's one thing being visible, but when you've got your own business, you need to be CEO, aka queen, is what I work with. But it could be king. If you're a guy listening to, it's entirely up to you what you want to call yourself. But I run business masterminds, essentially helping people to become queens of their business. So it's all about leadership, stepping up into being a leader, making good decisions, taking strategic action. And then it's the mindset piece as well. The mindset's a big part, which is why we thought it's a really good idea to talk about pricing mindset with everyone today. So you can read the slide, all of the different things I do, but one of the main things that I've just done recently is write a book with some co-authors called How to Win and Keep Clients with the IAPC&M. And if you haven't done so already, I highly recommend that you check it out, because it really helps shortcut your journey in terms of attracting clients. So why is pricing your services right so important? Well, a lot of my clients come to me and they say that they feel like they're running a hobby. They're doing everything they can for a business, but they're not earning any money from it. And one of the things that people hit in terms of blocks is you get to a certain point. So you charge a certain amount for your one-to-one work, and you will hit a ceiling on how much time you've got and how much energy as well, because it takes a lot of energy when you're in a service-based business. You're working with people, and you can take on some of their things, some of the stuff that they bring to you, and it gets to the point you can only do so much. And what you need to do as you grow your business is leverage your time. And I'm going to be talking to you how you can actually do that. What you're doing when you price your services right as well is you're showing people that you value your services and you have a valuable service to offer. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there who've got this idea that price what you're worth, and I really disagree with that. And why I say that is because I think price what your services are worth. This isn't about your worth, because that means if someone says they don't want to buy from you, you're going to say I'm worth less. We don't want to go there. So what we want to do is feel really confident in the services that you're providing for people, know that you're providing great things, and then people are going to want to buy from you. Now, I remember listening to a webinar a few years ago, and this is when I first started. I don't know who it was. I wasn't even into web. I think it was teleseminar, they called them then, or something. And somebody said, if you had a book in front of you that was £10 and a book £100, probably dollars when I was listening to this, which one would you buy? And the perceived value is that the one that's more expensive, that's the one that people think has got more perceived value. So it's really interesting when we undercharge for our services. People think there's a catch. They think there's something wrong, or that we don't value what we do and it's not good enough. So just be mindful of that when you're trying to price things and discount and sell your mother your goldfish, everything you can possibly give for someone to work with you. Be mindful of that. Okay, it's really important that you price them right. Now, the problem that comes up is there's a lot of noise out there, and what I mean by that is the online world, especially in the coaching arena. There's thousands of coaches out there, and so that can trigger us. And we also see one person's charging this and another person's charging that, and it brings up all of this not enough feelings. People start to go into this mindset. People don't want what I've got to offer. People can't afford what I've got to offer. What if I get found out? What if people think I'm not good enough? All of these what ifs. Okay, so as coaches, we're brilliant at working with people on their limiting beliefs, maybe not always so much working on our own. So I would encourage you to work on yours and notice when fear's coming up, especially to trigger you. It's going to trigger every single button in you of all of these different things, comparing to others, the rejection, the judgment, all of those kind of things. So do some work with someone if you need to work through your own pricing mindset. So I said I'd share a little model with you. Now, this is when I was working in the area of visibility, but this is a strategy that I think is really important when you're working through your pricing. So I'll touch on the number 4 and 5, but the key part we want to focus on today is 1 to 3. So first of all, you want to be passionate about what you do. This is the thing that's going to get you out of bed, and it kind of goes without saying, but it's not just passion about coaching, it's passion about something, and I'll talk to you about that when we get to step 2. You want to be really skilled at what you do. So I know when you're first starting out as a newbie, you want to coach anyone and everybody, and that's okay. But what I would encourage you to do is really try and niche down your business. And I would encourage you to think about your own life experiences, the kind of work you really enjoy. Even when you're doing your studying, you can be looking at ways that certain things will excite you more than others. Maybe you like working with people on procrastination, or you like, or wellness, or whatever. So think about what you're passionate about. Number 2 then is you decide who your dreamies are, and I call them dreamies, aka ideal clients. I think ideal clients is too boring. I like to have a bit more fun. So these are your dream clients. They are the people you absolutely love working with. They light you up. They're the right personality. They pay you on time. All of those different things that you want them to do. But it's not just knowing who they are. It's knowing how they think and what they're thinking about. So you want to be getting into their heads, if you like. What is it that they're struggling with? What is it that you think you can offer then, leading into number 3? What can you offer to help them achieve that outcome that they desiring, and help them overcome that problem, that obstacle that's in their way? And I'll just touch on 4 and 5 before I talk about the sweet spot. But 4, once you've got those 3 things, passion, dreamies, and offer, essentially your sweet spot, what you then do is then create your message. So you've already identified what you love doing. You know who the people are you want to work with, and you know what they're struggling with. Then you can create a package that's the right fit for them. And that's number 3 of offer. Once you've got those, then you've got something to actually go out to market with. What often people do is do it completely the other way around. They go out there with something and try and get loads of clients, and then it doesn't work because they're trying all these different things. It really helps to work on those first 3 steps, get clarity around those, then go out and do your message. And number 5 of tribe is connecting with your people. So it's how you do that. In this case, it's visibility. So it's how you share your message so that people want to buy from you. That might be blog posts, it might be podcasts, it might be social media posts, etc. Okay, so what I want you just to get into your head is, when you're pulling together your package, you want to get that sweet spot. Okay, get clear on those, then you can go out and do your marketing around everything. So we're only focusing obviously on the offer element today, but it's just something to bear in mind when you're pulling everything together. So what I'd like to do is share this example with you about building a package. Okay. Now, if you look at the pink triangle on the right, and Dawn, I'm hoping you can see the pricing strategy. You should have 2 pyramids in front of you. I'll just check that you can see that at your end.
I've got 1 pyramid.
1 pyramid. You have a pink and purple. So let me just go back and double check that. Can you see it now?
No pyramids now.
No pyramids. Brilliant. Let me go forward and back. What about now?
Yes.
It's like being at the optician,
yes,
isn't it?
Lovely.
Can you see it now?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So the ideal would be to have the pyramid on the left. So you've got a low at the bottom is a low entry level. Then you've got a medium level, and then you've got high level. So if we talk about the low entry level, that is where it's almost like you're putting them into a funnel and you are starting that process. So it could be a low end price product. It could be a free group. It's something that's going to get people interested in you. And if you look at the width, it's at the base of the triangle. It's less access to you. As you go up, if you look at the pink triangle on the right, as you go up the edge of the triangle, you'll see that you get more value and more access. So when I was sharing with my groups around programs, I at the time was doing pro bono work and a very low priced group, free group, sorry. I had a gap where it's got the greyed out one. I had a gap where I could have put a low group in. I could then go mid group, high group, a strategy day, VIP. Now I overcomplicated things back then. Now it's much more simplistic. You either work with me low, medium or high, and then you have passive income streams. Talk about that another time. So what I would say to you is think about your business. What would be a really nice thing to invite people in at a low end? So a low end, if you were doing one-to-one, for example, could be that you have a 1 hour session. So that might be the low end. So it's a lower price point, but it gets people knowing, liking, trusting you. You help them with something, but it's not going to get the transformation that you would have if you worked with you for a longer time. Medium could be maybe 3 sessions. And then you maybe go on to 6 sessions, which is high. If you're somebody that prefers to work with groups, if I share how mine works, so I have the low end, you have my Queen of Business Masterminds. So that's a group of 8 people who come together. The next step up from that is we have a group retreat, which is at a castle near me. Sounds like coming to a cinema near you. It's a castle near me, and it's a higher end, but it's group. So you're not just getting me. Everyone else is obviously going to get their part of me as well. And then the high end is 1-to-1 with me at a castle. So again, that's very high level. So they are getting much more access to me, but it's a much higher price point. Okay. Now, if you're doing training and corporate work, that can sit in behind anything that you're working with, which is why you've got the blue triangle running at the back of it. But the key to this really is thinking about the different levels and how much access they get to you. So the higher up, the more value they get. So let's say somebody's working with me at my high end when we go to the castle, they're going to get access to my mastermind group, all of my training things that I've done. So they get loads of added value, but not necessarily more of that, me delivering that 1-to-1. The 1-to-1 is where I deliver it at the castle, and then they get access to self-study programs. That's when then you can leverage your time. And that's what I talk about when I say about passive income. So let's say somebody comes on a discovery call with you and you offer them 6 sessions. Let's say they're £100, for example, and they're £100 a session. You say, right, that's £600 for that. Okay. So that means it's 6 hours of your work, and you can only ever earn £600 for those sessions. Doesn't matter what the numbers are, you can use your own, but you're only going to be able to hit 600. Okay. Then when you think about the hours, you've got 6 hours with that person. So then you need to think about working week. How many people can you actually serve in a working week? Bearing in mind, you've got to add in marketing time and preparation for sessions and note taking and all of those kind of things, potentially before and after. You might have to read through some forms that they've sent you. All of those kind of things are things that you're adding into the mix, but you're still only getting that £600. What you do is you add value. And when you get the Rock Your Pricing program, this will go into a lot more depth with it. I don't want to focus too much on this, but it will get you thinking about what value you can add in. So for example, you might have your 6 sessions, but they might have some pre-work questionnaires that they do. They might have some homework that they do in the middle. You maybe have recorded some audios that they could have, or a video that you could have. And the reason I'm sharing the Rock Your Pricing, as much as you're learning from it, it's showing you ways where you can add value. So if a client came to me and I was working with them one-to-one and they wanted to know more about pricing, I will send them this training that I'm going to share with you, so that they can work through that before we have the call. So it means they've done a lot of the work, but it hasn't been me constantly talking about the same thing over and over again. And it's allowed me then to leverage my time. So when I am on the call with my client, it works a lot better. They've already done some work, so we have a much more powerful session, and they're not taking up all of your time, so you've got space to service other clients. Okay, I'm happy to take any questions around this as we go, Dawn. So if anyone has got any questions, I'm more than happy to talk about this at this point. So when you're building a package, think about how many sessions you want to offer, what length the sessions are going to be, and the frequency. Are you going to offer support between sessions? I would add a caveat here. If you start email support, I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes email support can turn into war and peace. So maybe you want to have some kind of boundaries around that if that's something you are going to offer. As I said, maybe there's some pre-work, some post-work. The key here is added value. And I've got a list in the worksheets of how you can start to add value to your packages. So it's not just you using your one-to-one time. You're not hitting that ceiling. Ideally, what you want, the payments there, we should have said up front. So always get your payments up front. I don't know why I've put that in here, but I think that's a pricing mindset thing, really. I think so often clients are chasing around for money. My clients are chasing around their clients for money. And I think it's really important, get your payments up front, have that as a non-negotiable, and it makes life so much easier. You don't become a debt collector. You are just the amazing coach that you need to be. So when you're thinking about your low, medium, high packages, you want to think about how they fit in with each other. So rather than it being randomly put together, each of them can fit into the other. So if you think about my Queen of Business Masterminds, people could then up level and say, well, I want to now come along to your retreat. So perhaps people from my mastermind group will come along to that retreat. So I've already got something I can sell up to them, sell them into after they finish that mastermind. They might say that they want to work with me one-to-one. So they might move from the low end straight into the high end. They might miss the medium completely because they want more one-to-one work. But equally, it works the other way around. So I might have somebody who says, I want to come along to a mastermind retreat. And then they say, well, actually, I really want some virtual support now, having done that. So when you think about your packages, be really smart with them. How can you move people up and down those packages? Because what that's going to do is allow you more flexibility. You have got, when you're on a call with somebody, you have got a few different ways in which you can help them. So it helps with your conversations of things like, how can I work with you? Well, they say, I've only got a budget of X. Okay, fantastic. So if you've got a budget of X, I can offer you this or this. And then further down the line, if you want to upgrade to this, this is another thing that I can offer you. So it just helps keep your conversations easy. I'm all about KISS, which is keep it simple, sweetie. Don't believe me, stupid. Keep it simple, sweetie. So it just helps you to provide a better service for your clients. And if you go on the pink triangle, you can see how even your own head, I don't know about you, but even that confuses me with all of the different levels. It's just too many. So think of 3, makes it a lot easier when you're coming to sell. So has anyone got any questions before we go on to that? I'll leave that slide up just in case anyone's got any questions around the pricing strategy. So you will get the training.
I haven't got any questions yet, Ruby, but I'm glad you're doing quite an in-depth discussion, because some people are saying that the visuals are not all coming through. So some of the slides,
that's a shame.
Just half there. So
that's a shame.
Slides, obviously different people are saying slightly different things. So it's good that you're giving a good debrief on each one. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. What I will do then, Dawn, is I will provide a copy of the slides, then people can go through them and have a look at them afterwards. Would that help?
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay, I apologise, that's happened. It's such a shame, 'cause it's perfect this end. Okay, so we're moving on to your relationship with money. Now, how could it be blocking your success? So these are some of the common things that happen with some of my clients. They basically hide away, as I call it, under your desk, don't want to tell anyone about it. You know that you've got some things that you want to do, but it's really scary asking. Okay, so you just don't tell anyone about what you do. You hide away and think that everyone's going to come to you. I remember when I first pressed publish on my website many, many years ago, I was so excited, and I was in a bit of a panic, and I thought, right, I'm going to press publish and I'm going to go and make a cup of coffee. And I came back and I thought, oh, nothing happened. And I waited a week, nothing happened. And I waited 2 weeks, nothing happened. And then a few weeks, nothing happened. And I thought, oh. And then it dawned on me a while later that it's a bit like opening a shop in the middle of the countryside. If you don't signpost that you're there, no one's going to know. So even if you press publish, unless you tell people that you've published or you've got something to share with them, they're not going to know. They're not mind readers. We have to do that part of the work for them. We have to tell them what we do. Number two, you don't have clear offerings. So maybe when you get on a call, you're bumbling around and saying, well, you could do this, or you could do that, or you could do this, you could do that. And I still fall into that trap now. I've got so many things that I can help people with. I end up trying to sell everything to them because I'm not sure which one's going to be the best one. And that's why it's much easier to go back to basics, which I'm now doing, and having those 3 different things: low, middle, high, easy. Okay. Maybe you're shying away from sales conversations, or you push people into the lower end. So again, one of the things I learned over the years, way back a few years ago, I was working with a mentor, and she said, you really need to charge 5,000 for your packages. And I wasn't ready. It wasn't that I had money issues. I just didn't feel like I was in that space. Anyway, I thought, right, my mentor knows best. I put it up. And I said, there you go, got the sales page and everything going. And I get onto calls and people say, how can I work with you? And I said, well, I've got 3 different packages. I said, obviously the top end, that's very high end. I don't think that's what you need right now. You might want to go with this one or this one. And I would literally not sell that package. I would talk myself out of the sale. And I would have people saying, oh, but your high end, that sounds like it's better. So I really don't think you're at that level, or I don't think that's quite the right fit for you right now. I think you'd be better doing this one. So I just cost myself sales. In the end, I took the package down. I worked on some, different things to develop my skill set. So I then felt confident to do it in my abilities, not so much around the pricing, but I felt like it was in alignment with what I wanted to offer. And now it's comfortable doing that. But it took time. And I think I'm not giving you an excuse here not to put your prices up, because it's not that, but it is about making sure that it's not so far a stretch you will sabotage yourself and you will stop selling that particular thing. So as I said, you could potentially be limiting your earning potential because you can only serve so many people with the time that you have. And this is where adding value into your packages will really help you. And remember, it's, you might think, well, people buy from so-and-so and they'll buy from this person and that person. It's perceived value. So like the book I said to you, if you don't value what you do, people won't. If you have it too cheap, people will think, there's something wrong with this, or this person doesn't believe in themselves. And if they don't believe in themselves, I can't believe in them either. And that may not be happening consciously, but from a subconscious level, it may. Okay, so these are some of the ways in which money might be blocking your success. Now, anything that's got a yellow star on, as you can see at the top, is for me to interact with you. So tell me, where do you think you're blocking your relationship, your business success with your relationship with money? What money blocks come up for you? Maybe Dawn, if you can just read out a couple to see what we've got.
The money blocks would be obviously hereditary.
Mm-hmm.
So money attitudes that they were brought up with, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously fear of success.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just having a look to see if anybody else has made a comment.
Are there ways in which people are holding themselves back?
Yeah,
I
and
was really
just
good at doing busy.
not a good understanding of how to price themselves,
Yeah.
and typically pricing themselves at the lower end of the market.
Yeah, I tease and I say, don't offer anything for less than £40 an hour. I could get my nails done for that.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's, you have to step into that space. And I think if you think about different coaches, you've got some people, let's park the new element for a moment. Let's say you're an experienced coach of 2+ years experience. So you know what you're doing, you've worked with some people and you're ready to start pricing at a decent level. There will be people at your level that charge 75, 150, 250 for a session. There'll also be people who are really, really confident and they'll charge £10,000 for a session. Again, there is no black and white. It has to be this or it has to be that. So I would say do a little bit of market research around other people doing what you do so you can get a ballpark figure, but don't get stuck on that, because where you can make things different is how you come across in your own business. So for me, I'm quite quirky, so people like my quirky nature. I'm not traditional, I'm quite colourful with all of my stuff and people like that, but I like to have a lot of fun. So you can make yourself different in that way, but you can also make yourself different, create that difference by what you're actually adding as value into those things as well. Okay, so just be aware of how you're holding yourself back.
Sorry, Ruby. I've had more comments saying that the commentary is not matching the slides. So perhaps it might be easier for you just to have the slides, because I've got half and half.
Okay, let's do that then.
Turn the slides off for us and just talk us through the slides, and I will make sure that everybody gets the slides at the end. Yeah, because I can see, as usual, you've had some fun and very colourful, but it's not working for some reason. So we'll just listen to Ruby. Keep your questions and comments coming in the chat box, and I'll make sure you
definitely
all get,
copies of the slides,
and a copy of the recording so you can listen to it again.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Ruby.
Okay, no problem at all. So what you want to do is get clear on some of the blocks that you have around pricing. So what are you afraid of around pricing your services? When you think about, let's say I say to you, triple your prices right now, what does that do in your body? You know, are you thinking, who am I to think I'm good enough to sell my services at that rate? Or what if people find out my services aren't that good? What if someone's better than me or cheaper than me? Or, you know, all of these what ifs. Maybe you're saying to yourself, I'm just going to wait until I've got another few months or years under my belt, and then I'm going to take action and I'm going to raise my prices. What if, what if, what if? Okay. So you need to get clear on them. And I would suggest you spend some time really digging deep, especially, and just play with the concept of I'm going to triple my prices or quadruple my prices, and just notice what comes up. I'm not going to make you do that, so you're all right. But just notice what comes up, because that will start to highlight your triggers and highlight the things that are standing in your way between you and success. Okay.
But it's really, Ruby, when you said earlier that pricing the service rather than you and what you think you're worth negates that issue.
Yes, because I think what helped me when I was first starting out in business actually was I remembered when I was in corporate, people would be telling you what to do and you would be selling on behalf of them, whatever it was you were doing. You know, if they were I was in HR, so I was basically selling good employment, if you like, and that we were looking after our staff. There's something, whatever department you're in, you're going to be on some level selling for your business. So if somebody said to you, what do you do? We were a jewelry company at the time. So somebody said, what do you do? Well, I work with this jewelry company and it's amazing jewelry. And I wouldn't think twice to sell those products because I believed in them. I loved the company and I wouldn't think twice about actually selling those products. But when it comes to your own business, you get in the way because you're selling you, and it's really awkward. So one of the things that really helped me when I first started was actually thinking, I am selling the service, I'm not selling me. Okay, yes, I'll be one delivering the service, but it was almost like I disconnected. So I had me as the business owner who was doing the selling of the service, and then I would deliver it, if that makes sense. Sounds a little bit wacky, but it works. Try it. It works really well for me anyway. But it is, if you can disconnect yourself somehow, the fact that it's about you want to help people create transformation, and you get in the way, and you're doing people a disservice if you don't sell them what you're offering, because you could be helping them and you're not. Okay, so just remember that. And I used to say in visibility, and I don't know where it came from, but your message needs to be bigger than your fear. And this is the same. It's exactly the same principle. If you want to help people and create transformation, you'll help more people by creating good, solid prices for what you're doing. This isn't about pricing yourself out of the market. And if you're uncomfortable with pricing, you won't do that anyway. You're not going to all of a sudden tomorrow, as a result of doing this webinar, be putting £10,000 an hour on your prices. You're not going to do that. But what I hope it will do is just get you thinking about, okay, what can I offer, and how can I help my dreamy clients so that they can get the transformation that they need? And it's okay then for you to go out there and talk about it. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Have we had any other comments in the thread?
No, not yet.
No? Okay. So I just want to share a simple mindset hack with you, and it's a basic NLP technique. And for those of you who haven't done NLP, that's neuro-linguistic programming. So it works with it's almost like your manual for your mind. So it's neuro for the brain side, and it's linguistic for the language side. And programming, although it sounds scary, it's just basically helping your brain to make brilliant change, keeping it really simplified here. So when you change what we want to do is we want to change a negative statement from the present to the past. And what you're doing is you're overriding your brain. Your brain can't tell the difference between fact and reality. So let's say one of your beliefs, if we go back to one of the ones that I shared at the beginning, that people won't want what I've got to offer. Okay. What you're going to do is, in the past, I used to believe that people won't want what I've got to offer. Now and you put in a much more powerful statement. So I prefer to say, in the past, I used to believe that people wouldn't pay for my services. Now I'm choosing to believe that my services help create amazing transformation, and I get rewarded for that accordingly. And you can put in whatever works for you. You can find any statement that works for you. What you're doing is you're telling your brain that that's how you used to think and not how you think now. So another one might be, in the past, I used to feel uncomfortable about charging my services. Now I know I'm doing a disservice to my clients if I don't talk about what I do. Or now I'm choosing to believe that by adding more value into my packages, I can then create better transformation. So another one might be, in the past, I used to worry that others would be better and cheaper than me. But now I believe that there's something out there for everyone. I was talking to a client yesterday in my mastermind group, and she was saying that we were talking about supermarkets. So over in the UK, we've got different levels of supermarkets, and we've got Lidl and Aldi, which would be the cheaper end. And then the next level up might be Asda or Morrison's or Sainsbury's. Then we would go into Waitrose or Ocado, and then we would go on to Harrods and Fortnum and Mason and all of those kind of things at really high end. And when we were talking, we were actually doing a session on pricing yesterday ourselves. We were talking about it. I was saying that you need to think about where you want to position yourself in the market, because you might want to be cheap for everyone. I'm not saying do this so that you burn yourself out, but you might want to work with more people at a lower price point. So that's where the groups come in. So you could do a monthly membership, and it could be, I don't know, £20 a month, and you have hundreds in there, and that creates an amazing income for you. You're really excited by it, and that works for you. So you choose that you're going to be that lower price point. You might find that you want to work with less people at a higher end, which is where I'm at now. I've done all the low end stuff. I actually want to work with people more exclusively and with smaller groups. So I'm much more at the high end, and you decide where you want to position yourself. Now, my client was saying that she wants to be the next level of high end, like as in Fortnum and Mason, the very top end. If we had 4 levels, she wants to be level 4. But she, you know, if she was relating it to supermarkets, she wouldn't go to that supermarket because she doesn't think she can afford it. So I said to her, go to that supermarket and buy something. Get that mindset out of your, you know, get out of that mindset and think, okay, I can buy something at this level, which means that I'm comfortable about buying something at this level, and I'm comfortable. And what it will do is it will start to shift. It's not going to be an overnight. As soon as you buy, you know, a jar of jam or something at that level of supermarket, everything shifts. But it is going to start you moving in a new direction of thinking, okay, well, I can afford this, and I invite people to invest in me at this level too. It just changes how you think. And she was actually quite excited by it. And what we talk about is buying one item from the next level of supermarket. But you can see how even just having that conversation, it helped her shift. So in the past, changing your negative statement from present to past is really, really powerful. So I will share that with you. Another one that's really good for that is I'm learning by. So if you don't feel you're ready yet, think about what you're learning. Now, I just want to check in on time because I can't see time on my screen. Dawn, would you be able to tell me the time? Just to make sure I've got time to do this exercise.
It's not quite 22 yet, so you're doing fine.
Okay, brilliant, because I do want to leave time for a little bit of questions if people want any. Okay. So let's just do a mini clearing around one limiting belief around pricing. So share a limiting belief in the chat box that you want to work with around pricing. So it might be, I could never charge that amount of money, or I'm not ready to work with high-end clients, or etc., etc. Just post one of your limiting beliefs in there around pricing. And honestly, it doesn't matter what level you're at, you will always have one. Denise Duffield-Thomas, I think, who does the Lucky Bitch Boot Camp, she always says, new level, new devil. So as you go build on your business, you're going to come up with something else that's going to block you around pricing. It's just how it goes.
We've got, I don't need the money. Other people need it more than me.
Oh, nice.
I could never charge that amount.
Yeah.
If I did charge that amount, and then I would feel under pressure to deliver something exceptional.
Yes, totally identify with that one. I think that was one of my ones that held me back before. So yeah.
So kind of like an imposter syndrome.
Definitely. Anything else?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
That they love that your message bigger than your fear quote.
Brilliant. Okay.
Oh, something else. But what I charge to what else they could buy. And somebody else has just written, what if I disappoint the clients afterwards? So yes, all kind of on a similar theme, Ruby.
Yeah, and probably for those who didn't write that particular one, you'll probably identify with those too. Exactly. That's usually what happens. They're all so common. There's so many that come up with it for us. And if we can work through these, we're going to be able to much better serve our clients. So I want to do a little NLP technique with you. And what I want you to do is I want you to think about this particular belief, the one that you've written in the chat box, this belief that you know is going to limit you and it's holding you back on some level. And what I want you to do is just check in with yourself. You may need to close your eyes. Just think about how strongly do you believe this, where 1 is low and 10 is high. So just get yourself a number. You can post in the chat box if you want to, or you can just keep it to yourself. It's entirely up to you. Give you a moment to think about it. Okay, so once you've got that number, and this is how strongly you believe this negative statement that you've put, I want you to notice where you hold it in your body. Where do you hold this belief in your body? Once you've got that, I want you just to notice if there's a size, a shape, and a colour. So what size is it? What shape is it? And what colour is it? Okay, so hopefully you've got something now. So we're just going to play a little bit. So what I want you to do is you've got this belief in your body, you've got a particular size, shape and colour, and I want you to shrink yourself down and go all the way inside this belief. So you're way inside this belief. And just notice, when you're there, anything that's going on. Next, I want you to go way up above the belief. So you're looking down on the belief, all the way up, as high as you can possibly go. You might be sitting on the moon, looking down on it. You might be sitting on the top of a building. You might be looking out from the top of a building. Anywhere you can go way, way above this belief, high up above the belief. Just notice. Next, I want you to go way beneath the belief. So it's all the way down. You might be going down into the core of the earth. You might be going down into a basement. It's entirely up to you. Perhaps you're at the bottom of a valley. Doesn't matter, but you're way, way underneath this belief. Just notice. Next, you're alongside this belief. You're really, really close to this belief, parallel to it. It's right next to you. Just notice from this space. Now go behind the belief, all the way behind the belief, as far away as you can. So the belief is a tiny speck in front of you, whether it's in the future or just far out in front of you. You are way behind this belief. And just notice. And now you're in front of the belief, way, way out in front of the belief, as far in front of the belief as you can possibly be. It's all the way behind you. And just notice. Now I want you to notice which particular position or positions had the greatest impact on reducing your certainty about the belief. Or it might have increased your commitment to doing something about it. So just notice what's coming up with it for you. One of the positions may have reduced the negativity, it may have increased the positivity of doing something different. Just notice which position had the greatest impact. And now that you know that, what do you think you can do now to serve you in relation to the belief? What one thing could you do to serve you in relation to the belief? What about the belief? What shape is it now? What colour is it? What size is it? If there's a tiny bit of the belief left in your body, what I want you to do is take it as if you can physically put your hands in your body, wherever that is. It might be in your head, your tummy, your arms, doesn't matter. And imagine that you can actually go in and just take it out and get rid of it. You can get rid of it any way you want to. You can throw it into the sea, you can throw it out to the galaxies, you can squash it in your hands, you can burn it, stamp on it, shred it, do whatever you want to do to that belief so that it's completely gone. And if there's something more lovely that you'd like to put in there, maybe you want to fill your body with a different colour, maybe you want to put a different shape in there that makes you feel excited, maybe it's a treasure chest of coins or money or something. If you want to put something else in there, I know some people like to fill that gap that they've just created, then do that now in any way that you want to. Maybe if you're doing king or queen, you might want to put a crown on your head. Just do whatever you need to do. And now when you think of the original belief, how strongly do you believe it on a scale of 1, where 1 is low, to 10, where 10 is high? Have you had any shifts? You just want to pop a message in the chat box so we can see what's happened. Okay, Dawn, have we got any messages?
No, not yet, but everybody could still be in their zone, working through it.
This is a really powerful exercise by a lady called Fran Burgess. I had a little bit into it. She's written a really good handbook. It's brilliant for coaches. It's actually called the NLP Cookbook, I think it's called. Excuse me. And I've added my own little elements to it. So definitely check her out because it's absolutely brilliant. And it's something that you can do on any belief that you have. And it's really, really powerful. It's the one that I shared, I think, when we were talking, Dawn, about a client who then went and completely shifted everything in her business. And she brought in, I can't remember, a few thousand. I think I shared with you how many thousand it was as a result of just doing that exercise. So you may find there's a little bit left to clear. If you haven't cleared everything, then you can go through that exercise again. So obviously you can listen on the recording, on the replay, and go through that exercise again. It's really powerful. Just interested to see what's happened, if anyone's had any shifts.
I've just put the details of the book in the chat box so everyone can look at it.
Thank you.
I guess one of the ways around testing your attitude towards money and what you're worth or what your service is worth is practice asking.
Absolutely.
So practice asking for referral, testimonial, practice asking for something in exchange for what you do. So for the newbies, the newbie practitioners who are doing a lot of pro bono work, get used to asking for something in return and creating that positive exchange of energy so that when they are fully qualified, insured and professionally accredited, and they're ready to throw open the doors and say, hey, world, hire me, they feel more comfortable with asking for what the service is worth.
Definitely. And it could even be a testimonial. Even that can sometimes feel quite uncomfortable when you're first starting out, but it's helping you step into that new arena.
Yeah. Okay. A couple of questions. Handling objections. When somebody else was saying earlier about, well, what if they disappoint the client and they didn't actually feel they had given enough value, and the client maybe is disappointed and wants some refund or a rebate, or they just say flat out, this is too much. How would you handle those objections, Ruby?
Okay, so let me take them individually in turn. I think, I can't remember for sure, I think I might have covered some of this in the worksheet as well on objections, but let me share with you anyway. If you've done a really bad job, because sometimes we mess up, then I would just be honest, own up, and then just say, look, how can I put this right with you? It's much better to do that than have an argument with people about money. As you grow your business, you're more likely to invite people who want to have refunds and that kind of thing. And I think the easiest way to avoid that is to be very clear on managing expectations in the early days. So for example, one of the things I don't help people do, I don't want to, I'm not, it's one of my soapbox things. I don't help people get six-figure businesses overnight, or 7 or 8 or anything like that. I don't do that work. If you want somebody who's going to help you do that, I'm not your person. So I think what you can do is get very, very clear around managing the expectations. When you first set up those conversations with your clients, say, what are your expectations of us working together? What do you hope to achieve by us working together? And when you're on that call, if you think, do you know what, I can do 8/10 of that, I can't do those last 2, then I would say that to a client. Just say, look, I know I can help you with X, 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 or X, Y, Z, but I can't help you with J. But I do know somebody who can support you with that, so I can put you in touch with them afterwards. So I think that's one way of doing it. I think, what were the other ones, Dawn? Sorry, because there were quite a few that you said all at once. Can you just give me them individually?
Yes, the price is too high.
You will always get that. There will always be people you will be too expensive for. So if you can imagine, let's say shoes. Louis Vuitton, I can't even say the name because I don't do shoes in that way. I like shoes, but I don't spend a lot of money on shoes. Some people will have a perceived value that they are the price shoes that they would be willing to pay for. So everyone will have their own amount. They think, that's just a bit too much for me. If you think about when you may be buying a washing machine, you might think, well, 400, whatever your currency is, would be right. 600 or 800 wouldn't be right. So you're always going to have people that don't, that think you're too expensive potentially. The way you get around that is, one, have your prices on your website. And I know there's a lot of people say don't do that. Personally, I much prefer transparency, and it's saved me an awful lot of wasted conversations where people say, can't afford it, can't afford it, can't afford it. Secondly, when you've got the different levels, I've always got something to send them into. So let's say somebody comes to me and they say, I really want to work with you one-to-one, and I want to work with you at the castle. You know, for me, my actual outgoings at the castle are nearly 2,000 before I even start. It's a really high level package. It's a 5-star hotel. And it's got award after award, and they treat you like queens. They literally, honestly, nothing's too much trouble for them. So if someone said to me, I can't afford that, it's like, I literally can't afford to do it cheaper, because you are guessing all of those things. So what you can do is say, okay, so it doesn't sound like that's within your budget. What I would say to you is, tell me what your budget is and let me work with you, because you might find that there is somebody who's kind of in between the low to medium or medium to high, and then you could decide whether you want to drop something to work with them. You can say, look, I can't do anything about the pricing, because that is the price that I've set, and it wouldn't be fair to my other clients to be charging you any cheaper. However, what I could do is we could adapt the package to make it work in this way for you. The other thing you have to do is be strong in your conviction and just say, oh, that's a shame, I'm really sorry. If you think that we would be right to work with in the future, then you know where I am. And, if you want me to work on some ideas around pricing, around money that we can do to help you generate that money, if that's something that would be useful to you, and then you can coach them through that. Okay, does that answer that question?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right, Ruby. It's about authenticity, and also having respect for your other clients who have paid the full price. So
absolutely,
I would add to that, when somebody says handling objections, oh, that's too high, in relation to what?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to have that sense of perspective. And as you say, if somebody says it's too high, well, which element can we do a trade so I can do something special for you? So you don't want to come to the castle, therefore I can see you somewhere else which isn't having that outlay, and we can not dumb it down exactly, but quite often when you throw down the gauntlet and say absolutely fine, which elements of this program are we going to trade that you don't need, they'll say, oh no, I want that and I want that, and then make it happen. But just keep talking about it and give them options. So I haven't got any questions.
That's fine.
Nothing else come in the boxes.
Okay. And it's interesting, because whenever you're selling anything new on your new packages, it's almost like once you've got that first one, it's like, oh, I can do this now. It's the first one. It's hanging around for the first one that feels really uncomfortable, because you almost need that validation. Oh, well, one person's willing to pay for it, then anybody could be willing to pay for it. So it is just a case of hanging on and believing in what you're pricing. And that's when you do the pricing worksheet, you'll go through all the different elements, you'll add in the value. And if you start to think about all of the experience that you've had, the amount you've paid for your coaching training, maybe you've done other modalities as well. Maybe you've got a background in corporate that you're adding into the mix. A lot of stuff, I'm not just bringing my coaching, I'm bringing my business hat, where I've, obviously over the years, I'm talking about from the early days, I'm bringing my business hat from HR. Now in my business, I'm bringing all my leadership experience of working with managers and being on a strategic team, as well as working with hundreds of business owners. So as time builds, you'll be adding more and more of that experience in. And if you actually wrote a list, I think one of coaches I was following a few years ago, she actually got you to write a list of every single thing that you'd spend money on, and that's what they're paying for. They're not just paying for you for that one thing, they're paying for all your skills. A bit like a hairdresser, you're not just paying for that one haircut as if they've just come out of college, you're paying for all the hundreds and hundreds of haircuts that they've done that have got them to that level of expertise that they can charge that price. That's what you have to remember.
So the pyramid, I'm being asked, is that the same as a subscription level?
When you say subscription level, just tell me a little bit more what you mean.
Lots of people talking about build your database and create a subscription level program, and it's about
so monthly membership type thing.
Yes, is that?
Yes, it could be. It could be. Yeah, you could have. So you could have that as your low entry point. So you have a small group. Remember, I said about could be £20, euros, dollars a month. And then you have more people in there, so you're serving people at the lower end. So yeah, absolutely, that could be, and that's what I've done in the past. And then the mid-level's been, working with me one-to-one on a shorter-term basis, and then working with me one-to-one on a longer-term basis. So yeah, absolutely, you could do it as a group.
Any other questions while we've got Ruby in the hot seat? If you have, this isn't your last chance, because obviously you can ask Ruby directly. But no question is a silly question. If you ask it, somebody else is bound to be thinking it as well. So just one last call for questions in the chat box. And if not, we will wrap up. Unless there's anything else that you want to add, Ruby, in terms of what your next offering is or how people can contact you.
Yes, I just wanted to quickly do the wrap up. So we've talked about a few different things. We've talked about why pricing right is important. And I hope that you take that away, because if you do value what you're offering to people, you need to serve at you need to be setting your prices at the right amount. You're running a business, not a hobby, and you want people to think that you're credible. So it's not pricing yourself so cheap that people think, what's the catch? Shared the key model. So the key model, is around thinking about what's your passion, your dreamies, and then get that offering, get that sweet spot. We then talked about a super simple framework, which is the pyramids, which you'll get a picture of, and hopefully that will make an awful lot more sense. And then we talked about how your money relationship may be blocking your success. And I'd really encourage you, even write at the top of a piece of paper, how am I blocking my success because of my money relationship? And just notice what comes up, and play around with that exercise of 3 or 4 times, multiplying up what you're charging now, and just notice what triggers come up. And we've cleared one specific money block, and I've shared a strategy with you around how you can clear by going into the past about saying, I used to think XYZ. So the special offer that I'm sharing with you is the Discovery Call Magic Program, and this is about just creating discovery calls. I spent a year and a half working with a friend to do sales conversations, because I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't convert people. I would just start backing out left, right and centre. And what we did is we got a buddy system, and I would say, right, I'm going to sell you this, and we would talk about the different things, and we played. And I practiced with her, and then I practiced over and over and over and over and over again until I got it right. And I always say I'm not sure what my conversion rate is, say probably 85 to 90% conversion. I'm very clear about what I do. I'm very clear about what I offer. So when people come on a conversation, I'm very visible as well. So when people come on a conversation, they already know a lot about me, and they are ready to take the next step. They just want to find out what's actually involved. So the Discovery Call Magic Program was what I created for my clients as a 4-part training series, and it teaches you how to do the sales conversation. It teaches you how to create the discovery calls, and there's 3 secrets to super profitable follow-up, so how to actually do the follow-up. There's also how to get your dreamy clients on autopilot, and there's a bonus in there around creating client calls through a Facebook group. So I think Dawn has already shared the link with you. I'll send the slides, and it's got that in there for you anyway. It's usually £197, but for IAPC&M members, it's going to be £47. I've actually put it on my website for my clients too, because I felt it was wrong not for them to have access to it as well. So they've got it for £47, only though until the Thursday, the 24th of October. So it will be midnight BST, so British summertime, and after that it will be going back up to £197. So to stay in touch with me, I've got a group called Rock Your Fabulous Biz on Facebook, where I'm sharing all about, there's lots of visibility tips in there, because I think it's, even though I'm stepping into leadership and mindset, it's really important that you let people know that you exist. And I've got a Facebook page called Ruby McGuire, aka Queen of Connection. I'm in the process of actually changing that, but I'm hoping Facebook will say yes. And my website is rubymcguire.com. So I have got the link for you, and I will share that with Dawn. That will give you the link to get your worksheet, and that will also give you the Rock Your Pricing module. So you'll have an audio, a video training, and then you'll have the worksheet that goes with it, and that will help you really start to dig deep into your pricing and start to figure out what you want to offer.
Good, because I'm being asked for the link, so that's good. And somebody also said the relationship to money is the biggest stumbling block. I wish I did not have to deal with this. It would be so lovely if we could just do coaching and let somebody else take care of the money side. A bit like being in the butchers, it's not a great analogy from a vegan, but I've noticed there are some counters where somebody does the cutting and serving, then you go to the end and pay for your sandwich or whatever you bought, so somebody else deals with money. That would be cool, wouldn't it? So the idea of having a practice buddy to improve conversions is a brilliant idea, and I'm sure that happens in your mastermind groups as well amongst your
yes
clients.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It does. It is the way. Just more honestly, the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. I don't panic about, someone's coming on discovery call. I'd be panicking. I'd have all my notes all over the desk, and I'd be trying to take them through a script and all of those kind of things. And as the more you practice, the less you need it. But in the early days, okay, it's okay to do that. Just practice with whatever way you need to do it to bring in those clients. Just get comfortable with it. At the end of the day, if you don't ask, you've already got a no.
And the transparency is key as well. Just
Absolutely.
get your prices. I think it's only hard and embarrassing to deal with if you don't know what you're going to charge. If you do know what you're charging, you do know what your structure is, put it on the website, job done.
Absolutely.
It manages expectations straight off. It's in your contract. There's that consistency throughout all your paperwork trail. It needn't be embarrassing, but as I say, the first thing is get used to asking for a referral or a testimonial, and that helps you ask for the money. Because for a lot of people, Ruby, mysteriously a check appeared in their bank every month. But now as solopreneurs, we have to actually fill the bank account ourselves by asking for the money. And if you don't ask, you haven't got a business. That's the bottom line.
No, and I think it is that whole roller coaster thing. It's exciting because you've got so much freedom, but then it pushes so many buttons and triggers limiting beliefs we didn't even know we had. But it makes for an amazing journey of self-development and discovery and all of those kind of things.
Yeah. Okay, so bang on time, well, just 2 or 3 minutes post time. So we're going to say goodbye to everybody, and I will get a recording and Ruby's notes out to you and people who couldn't make it today. But thank you for a very energetic and entertaining talk on what is a very touchy subject for a lot of people, especially British people who don't like talking about money, do they? So well done, Ruby. Thank you very much. Brilliant. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I'll speak to you later. Bye-bye.
Brilliant. Thanks, Dawn. Bye.
Bye.